she was talking about him and I was telling her, giving her advice, and I felt like she was looking like,
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 look at
yeah, like, yeah, she talking about you. I'm not crazy. I
that's
felt so
funny.
awkward. I just felt like he was there for some reason. No.
That's funny. Okay. All right, we are live now and we are recording. So good morning, everyone. It is Friday. Oh, I should probably say the date all the time. It is Friday, May 19th, 2023. My name is Natalie Elliott, and I'm here with the fabulous Jessica Addison. And we work at Atlanta Sex Therapy, which is a boutique counseling practice in the North Atlanta area, South Marietta. We are right probably about a mile from the Braves Stadium. And if y'all ever have any questions for us, feel free to send us the email and we will actually get your questions answered on this video. And so we go live almost every Friday morning, unless I'm out of town or something, and then we don't go live then. And so today, and I'm gonna check in with you and Jessica, but today I want to talk about female sexuality across the lifespan with that. And so I keep trying to make these hand gestures and then my hands like leave the camera. So I gotta keep my hand gestures small. So, okay. All right. So Jessica, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's good. So, what has brought this about is for the last 2-3 weeks, I feel like I've been educating females on sexuality with that. And first of all, let me say, yeah, if I wasn't a sex therapist, I wouldn't know this information either. This is literally why I became a sex therapist, is when I realized how much I didn't know. And it's not and like basic stuff like I would be one of the females had I not become a sex therapist. I would have been one of the females that was like, why am I broken? Why am I not having an orgasm through penis vagina sex? Because I did not know. And sometimes, and now that I'm thinking about it, I will wonder why my clients haven't read a book. But I got to tell you, if I wasn't a sex therapist, I don't think it would have occurred to me to read a book either with that. And I definitely would not have ever thought about going to a sex therapist because I hadn't even thought about going to therapy. Matter of fact, sometimes I'm a little mad at myself that I didn't, when I had good health insurance when I worked in corporate America, I never used it for therapy. I could have been in therapy every week for $25 for a copay. And I didn't know, like, man, who would I be had I just went ahead and taken advantage of that? Some of my most successful female mentors, they're in therapy every 2 weeks like clockwork, and they have been for like years. And they have a coach and they see their doctor consistently. And so what I'm really learning is making sure you have that support system in place as a female, because we handle stress differently. And one of the things, which I'm going to bring it back around to female sexuality, is the more stressed we are, usually the less we want to have sex. And so stress level goes up, sex desire goes down. It continues to go up, stress desire is going to continue to come down with that. And I feel like there's a biological reason for that. So, Jessica, so I'm not talking the whole time. What has shocked you since you've come to work and you're now working with females about female sexuality, or what females know or don't know about sexuality?
It's the lack of education. And as they're getting older, they kind of compare, I'm not able to reach this level in the bedroom. And my partner is telling me it's probably because some type of relationship issue, and it's really not. It just biologically your body changes, and I think it's something else that's going on, to where if I get this one thing right, then my sex life will be great. And if there's
Yes.
something wrong with me because I used to do this, or other people my age do this, or my friends do this, and I don't know what's going on with particularly me, and I hear the phrase, I'm broken, something's wrong with me, I don't
Yes.
understand, and I feel like I owe not themselves. I feel like I owe this to my partner. So I try to push myself to do it for them. Not try to like self like evaluate what's going on
Yeah.
or go to a doctor. They feel like I owe this to somebody else and not myself.
Mm-hmm. 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 I've had a conversation with a couple of OBGYNs, and one of the things that we'll get in a conversation about from time to time is females will come into the OBGYN office saying my hormones are off because I don't want to have sex, or my hormones are off, but da 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 da. And they do the hormone check, and it has nothing to do with their hormones. They're
Mhm.
just tired, or they're just stressed, or
Mhm.
they're just depressed with
Yeah.
that. Or they just have anxiety. And so we were, I was talking, and I'm usually out marketing when I'm doing this, because the OBGYNs are like, yes, we need your card, because they're thinking it's hormones. They're thinking it's something that they can fix by taking another pill. And no, they just got to go do the work with that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you unstress your life? So let me talk about sex kind of across the lifespan.
Mhm.
And I also want you guys to know that this across the lifespan may be very different for some people for one reason or another. Everybody doesn't fit into the same mold, okay? But for a lot of people, they usually have kind of wonderful sexual experiences and a lot more sex when they're in that college age group. So about 18 to 22, there's kind of a freedom in that time period. And if you actually are in college during that time period, you have time. Like, you have time to be laid up in the bed all day, and it's fun, and you're exploring your body, and you're exploring other people's bodies and everything. I remember one of my girlfriends talking about, I used to just lay and just look at him, look at his dick. And it's like, you have time to do that when you're in that age group. And then as you kind of start to get serious about your career, then a lot of couples who are like kind of figuring it out are having sex maybe 3-4 times a week as their kind of career and time allows, and who they're dating and whether they're not dating with that. And then that may maintain in marriage, but usually marriage slows down sex just a little bit. And so I would expect a marital couple in that 2-3 year before kids probably maybe to be about once or twice a week. And then that first baby totally changes sex and sexuality for most women for two reasons. One, their body is now different. Like, it's just different. Like, it's gotten stretched out. It's just bigger. It's not the body with that. It's just not the body. And then two, there's a psychic load, and I don't have children, but Jessica, I know you do, right? And so you may be able to speak to this a little bit, but I feel like there's a psychic like load energy that now you kind of got to get used to carrying. It's like you knew how to carry everything else, almost everything. I almost imagine when with all these things on the platter.
Yeah.
And you're really adept at carrying everything, and then you have a baby, and it's a whole new load that now you have to like learn how to manage and balance. And it takes so much energy, especially if a first-time mom. Like, is my baby breathing? Is it okay? Are they warm enough? Are they eating enough? Are they growing fast enough? Are they developing where they should be? Are they speaking the words they're supposed to be speaking? And so that takes up just so much energy. And so that, combined with the body changes, usually have people after that first baby kind of just struggle a little bit to figure out how to get sex back into their life, how to incorporate it. If we were having sex at night and now the baby is keeping us up every 2 hours, we got to figure out where to put sex into our schedule now with that. And I think men don't understand that at all.
But
Like,
you know what
they
I
are
came
so,
across?
what?
I and myself, I'm guilty of that. Like, other than getting my annual before I had kids, I never had like the deep conversations to want to know what's going on down there. But I think some people, until they have kids, they don't have that conversation with the OBGYN or talk to any type of specialist at all, or even see a doctor until something happens. So when they have a baby and their body changes, like at first my cycles when I never cramps, but after I had kids, that's when the cramping came. Then other things happened, and I want to have a talk with my OBGYN, like, I'm feeling this way. I've never felt this way until after I had kids or after I had some type of procedure going on. Then they start telling you about other stuff, and you get more intrigued, like, gosh, do I need to start like regularly seeing doctors and specialists to make sure I'm okay, to make sure everything's working properly because my body just went through this change. And I think with sex and sexuality, people think it's just surface level of this is what sex is from wherever they're getting their resources from. And it's not that complex. And if it's that complex, then there's something wrong with me because it should be just basic.
Yeah. It is the other thing I think is interesting is it's almost like that part of our body down there, like down there, like is a completely different part of our body.
Yeah.
And so we know what our hands look like, our arms look like, our legs look like, and it's like we know nothing about down there. Like it's just down there. And notice how I said it. My arms, my legs, my stomach, my breast, and then down there. So like it doesn't, we don't even name it. Like it's just this thing that's in the darkness. It should never come out the light. And so I was talking to a pelvic floor therapist, and she was saying, you absolutely need to be paying attention to your vulva. Like you need to be looking at it and inspecting it and knowing what's going on and noticing if there's any color changes like that could be signifying something. And she was also, the way she said it, this is a Black girl. So she said it, she was just like, hey, you shouldn't have an ashy vulva. You just should not have an ashy vajayjay. Your vajayjay needs to be moisturized just like every other part of your skin. And I was like, nobody ever told me that that. Like I did know because I'm a sex therapist. So I did know you were supposed to be inspecting it because it's a part of your body like any other part of your body. How will you know when you have a change? How will you know this is different? How will you know like my body's doing this if you're not looking at it and inspecting it? So just like you need to like check your breast, you need to check your vulva area. You need to like know what your body is looking like and doing. And so if there's a change, you can tell your doctor, hey, I don't know why this skin tone is changing right here. Can you check it out and make sure everything's okay? You know, with that. And so I just thought that was so interesting about moisturizing your vulva. And then I think she sent me a couple of moisturizers and I was like, I just did not know this. And so I'm still learning about female sex and sexuality. And our clients are still learning about female sex and sexuality. So let me go back to kind of across the lifespan. So let's say, so after the baby, sex is thrown off. The first baby, I would expect sex to be thrown off from about 6 months to a year. Your second baby, I would expect 6 months sex to be thrown off from a year to a year and a half. Because something about that second baby and learning how to manage 2 kids at the same time, that all of your other life is a little bit more stressful for people. Good news is, after that third baby, you good. After that third baby, you have figured it out. You figured out how to come back. You figured out what you need to do with your body. Like you probably bounce back after every other baby like that. With that,
so when you say thrown off, because some people might like, what do you mean, like scheduling or it feels different? What do you mean thrown off?
All of the things. So your body may feel different. Your schedule may be different. Like how you're relating to your partner is different. Like, so all of the things, you know, a baby will interrupt all of that with that. Let's see. Then with children, 2 working adults with children, small children, I would expect them to have sex about once a week, you know, probably on the weekend when they're less tired and they have a little bit more energy. So either they can get the kids in the bed early on Saturday night and have it on Saturday night, or don't get the big kids up until like 10 or 11, and they can have it on Saturday morning or Sunday morning or something like that, that I would expect during that time period. And then you'll hear women talk about having a sexual kind of revival or revolution around their 40s with that. All right. Most of that is based on women finally becoming comfortable with themselves and their bodies, and their children not needing them as much. So if you had your babies at 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, then when you're 40, you know, they're like, don't kiss me no more, mama. Like, they're on their own. And you as a woman have finally like settled into who you are. You are comfortable in your body. You're comfortable with who you are. And now you're able to verbalize what you haven't been able to verbalize before. So a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old may not be able to say exactly what she wants in sex or knows it. A 40-year-old is like, okay, if I'm gonna have sex, I need to be getting something out of this too. And this is what I need. And she's also usually much more willing to explore what she wants with that. And so that's usually kind of what you hear. It's just kind of this age of like freedom and feeling really good and like finally like hitting your stride in life with that. And so that's usually kind of right around there. Or the other side of it, which I've also actually heard this week, is at 40, life not being what you want and sex being your outlet. Like, my life is a hot mess. Let me go find somebody to have sex with, have an affair with, to escape and still feel like I'm a beautiful, desirable person, woman, and I'm escaping my real world. Okay.
But you know, I hear that some females, they want to use sex as an escape. And then once they do it, they're like, it was good, but I still feel the same way. And like what you said about exploring, it all boils down to you need to explore yourself, embrace what's going on, the journey throughout your body, your whole life, and know you can't depend on, I think you talked about this before, like people think traditionally men have this magic stick and all your problems are going to go away with this magic stick. And you are the magic. Like you don't need to depend on anybody else because it's like, you're going to forever do that. So don't wait till you get 40 or 50 to, well, you know what? I'm just going to embrace. You could embrace a long time ago because people are going to come. People are going to go.
You could have, but it's just
it's hard.
It's hard. Like when I was in my 20s, I was just so okay. When I was in my 20s, everybody, I was super saved, and so I just was so. I was super saved. I was one of those people that was so heavenly minded. They wasn't no earthly good. Like I just didn't. Oh God, we only got 10 minutes left. I was sad. I was so sad. And so I could not embrace any reality. Like I did not live in the world of reality. And so it's just a lot of things didn't start clicking and making sense until 30s and 40s for me. Okay. I'm still in my 40s, but it just didn't click and make sense until then. This is a couple of things I have personally in my life with my friends and with my clients noticed for females. The more physically active we are, usually the higher or more willing we are to be engaged in sex and sexuality. There's something about being reminded of our bodies and moving our bodies that makes us more willing to move our bodies sexually with that. And so one of the first things I would say to any female, if you're struggling, I'm gonna say over 30, is also make sure you have some type of exercise routine. And it doesn't have to be a lot, like the whole 3 times a week for 20 minutes will do it. But something about that walking and being active and, lifting a couple of weights just makes you feel like more aware of your body. And it will usually also increase your confidence level. Like you're just proud of yourself. Like even if I walk 10 minutes, I'm somehow feel like I'm doing a whole workout routine. Like I'm really proud of myself. So that's a key thing. Also know ladies, the higher stressed you are, the less you're going to want to have sex. Like, and I've said that already once tonight, but I think it bears repeating. If you are depressed, you are not going to want to have sex. Like, and so for our females, a lot of them, first of all, I think when, okay, let me try to all of the words to come out my mouth. All right, first of all, ladies, please stop comparing your sex drive to the sex drive of a male partner. With that. And so there's no way. Testosterone makes a huge difference in the amount of sex and sex drive. Like, it's huge. And so please stop comparing an estrogen-based human species with a testosterone-based human species. Like, it's completely different. Also, please stop comparing yourself to your friends. Everybody think that everybody else is having more sex. We literally have studies that show that people think that everybody else is having more sex than they actually are. And that everybody else is doing it for you. Please stop comparing yourself to everybody who is on Instagram and TikTok and everything. I'll always remember, and like, this bears repeating, and I think people hear it and they kind of know it and then they forget it. Is it those people? You don't know what those people are doing in their background. You only know the picture that you see. You don't know if they just got finished fighting for 8 hours. One of my dear friends had these gorgeous pictures of like, they were like under, like they were booed up and under a waterfall, and they just looked absolutely gorgeous. And so I was talking about it, they was like, listen, we had just had an 8-hour fight. And so they're not taking pictures of the 8-hour fight. They're taking pictures of them under the waterfall, looking like Black Ken and Barbie with that. That's not. And so, like, people somehow keep looking at social media and their friends and family thinking everybody's doing it but me. They're not. A, they're not. B, I want you to reality test that and say, okay, actually, who do I think is living this fabulous life? Like, people you actually know who were in your same demographic with your same circumstances. And so if let's say if I did that with a client, let's say who's been married 5 years and has 2 kids under 2 with that. And so I'm going to say, okay, tell me another female that is in your same circumstances, been married about how long you've been, and who has 2 small children, and tell me how much sex she's having. Because if you're not comparing apples to apples, stop. Like, and when we have that conversation, they'll be like, no, well, but my mom is having sex all the time. Your mom is retired. She does not have anybody in her house. She ain't got to work, and her husband ain't got to work. Her house is clean. She ain't got nowhere to go but church and the grocery store. Yes, she can have sex every day. What are we doing? Like, you ask her when she had 2 babies under 2, was she having sex every day like you trying to have now? And then it's like, oh, okay. Like, time matters, life matters. And so I think, go ahead.
I would say it's the details, because some people who think other people having sex all the time, what they're into, what their kink is, you might not be willing to do that. So you can't even compare the two. And like she said about like working out, like me and my group of friends, we're all shaped differently. And I say some people who are smaller than me or slender than me, I work out, like I lift weights, I do HIIT, and I do Pilates. And those are 3 different types of exercising styles. And like with Pilates, I had to know I can't go hard with Pilates like I do with HIIT and cardio. You literally have to slow down and focus. And with working out, like people just think I just want to lose my stomach. I don't want to do nothing else. But when I start working out and I want to work on my legs and my butt, I had to work on exercise for my upper butt, my lower butt, my side butt. You really had to dissect your body to make it how you want. And with your sexuality and your sex life, you have to dissect it in every small piece so it can be customized to this beautiful masterpiece of the beautiful sex life that you want.
That was so beautiful. Okay. All right. I want to educate our females a little bit more, but we are running out of time. So I think the biggest takeaway from today is please stop comparing yourself. Please understand that your sexuality is linked to your stress, your mental health. It is. It so is. And then go about fixing those things with that. I think Black women, but a lot of women, not just Black women, but I see it more in Black women, probably because I have more of those relationships in the crowd I hang around. But a lot of women in general have the kind of what Superwoman syndrome or Wonder Woman syndrome, that they can do everything and save the world and still be ready to have great sex at midnight. That's not possible. That's not possible. And so we really want people taking care of themselves, giving yourself permission to take care of yourself. If you want sex to be an active part of your life, if you have a partner, if you have a relationship and you've noticed, man, sex really does have my relationship function better. Like it's the oil for my relationship or it's the glue for my relationship and I really needed it. Then I think you need to be intentional about the things you need to have in your life so that that happens with that. Which may mean you have to quit church choir, like, because you need that one night a week to rest with that. It may mean we got to take the kids out of one of their activities because we're gone 7 days of the week. And that's just not good for anybody to run at that level that they're running. So, because I know like the travel soccer and the travel, teams and stuff, those people are sometimes up at 5 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday with that. And so just kind of like be realistic with your time and all of that. Women, I love you guys. I want you to be not just happy, but fulfilled and content and at peace with that. Like, feeling very queen-like in your domain and handling everything. So I think we're going to continue to talk about women. I feel like I did older men last week and it was like one session. And I'm going to do 2 sessions on women. So Jessica, next time we're going to talk about bridges to desire.
Yes.
With that, what do you need after sex to make sex happen again? What do you need before sex to make sex happen? Make sure you're articulating that to your partners with that. So we'll talk about all of that because, like, what does that mean? One more thing I wanted to make sure we talked about. Oh, ladies, sex should not continue to be painful. Please make sure you're talking to your medical professionals with that. And if you're OBGYN and saying there's nothing wrong with you, all right, then you're probably going to need to see a sex therapist to figure out what's going on. And a sex therapist can probably help you brainstorm and troubleshoot. And a sex therapist may send you to a pelvic floor therapist. All right, some of you guys can skip the sex therapist and go straight to the pelvic floor therapist with that. And some of you guys will need to do it. But I think sex shouldn't be hurting you every time. And so if it is hurting you every time, let's get to the bottom of that. Let's solve it. Let's not just say, oh, this is the way my life is supposed to be, because there are some things like the nut. Maybe we need to, we can just talk about some different things that might be helpful to you. So, okay, we got to go. It's 10:01 and I know I got a 10 o'clock. So bye, everybody.
Bye.